As a child, I yearned for the mines.
Yearned for the mines. Yearned for the mines. Yearned for the mines.
Fucking release! Chicken jockey!
Chicken jockey. Chicken jockey.
So, the Minecraft movie came out. I watched it. It was... well, it was something. Fallout 3 is also something. What if we combine two somethings into one thing, and ask the question, can you beat Fallout 3 as Steve from Minecraft? Also, just so I don't have to pretend this isn't a trend-chasing cash grab, I'm gonna add a Jack Black brain rot counter in the top right so you all know when to throw your popcorn. To explain the rules, imagine that I'm playing as Steve if he suddenly got transported to the world of Fallout. I'm only allowed to use items he could reasonably compare to the ones from Minecraft. Weapons I can use are my bare fists, the Chinese officer sword, the shovel, the axe, the repellent stick, frag mines, and the auto axe. Armor I can use are vault suits, the Merc Grunt outfit, leather armor, and any variant of metal armor. Consumables I can use are any food and drink I can link to the ones in Minecraft. Miscellaneous items, except caps, keys, passwords, and quest items, and ammo are also subject to this rule. Other rules are no hacking, no lockpicking, no pickpocketing, and no passing speech checks, as these mechanics don't exist in Minecraft. Finally, besides caps, I'm only allowed to carry items in stacks of 64. Now, without further ado, let's begin. But besides the question posed in the video's title, the real question is, who am I?
I'm Steve.
I attempt to make my face as square as possible and give myself a flat top and goatee as well. It's debatable whether the goatee is canon, but regardless, I'd say this is a pretty accurate representation. After my mother logs off the server, my abusive, blocky father locks me in with, a sphere? Take that, you aberration of logic! Anyway, I go with 9 strength since I can carry a black hole's worth of gold in my pockets, 1 perception since I use F3 to tell where I am, 7 endurance since I can heal from mortal wounds by eating a steak, 4 charisma for the child at heart perk, 9 intelligence to represent crafting, smithing, enchanting, and brewing, 9 agility for more AP and VATS, and 1 luck for all those times my items fell in lava. Luckily, I'm able to find a block of wooden planks, and while my dad is blabbing about revelations or something, I'm perfectly happy just playing with my cubes. Soon, it's my birthday, but since nobody enchanted Andy's buzzsaw with Silk Touch, he ruins my cake. Butch then asked me for the sweet roll I got as a present, and since I prefer cookies to sweet rolls, I oblige.
Your own BB gun.
The heck is a gun? Like some weird cross between a dispenser and a crossbow? I can try, I guess. Hey, I'm not too bad at this. Ah, a silverfish. Guess I'll just punch it to save ammo. Speaking of punching, the 2B2T troll known as 4chan is messing with Amada, so I give him a knuckle sandwich minus the bread.
Stop it! Leave him alone!
Guys! Nice one, Butch. Come on, tunnel
Stop
snakes.
it!
It's gonna
This
be
little
fun.
bitch
Paying
isn't
you
worth our
back
time.
for
Watch,
that.
wait. It's gonna be fun
not
paying you
much.
back for that.
Our heater's on the fritz again.
You're kidding me. Didn't you?
Well, you made it. All set for the goat?
For my tag skills, I go with explosives because
I'ma blow stuff up with my TNT.
melee weapons, and repair to represent my blacksmithing skills. A few years later, my dad is being hunted by the admins for fail RP, and to make matters worse, our base has been infested with silverfish. Before I get my sword or some mines, I don't have anything in the way of weaponry, so it's good old fisticuffs for now. Against the roaches, it's predictably effective, and I even forgive the 2B2T troll for leaking my coordinates. Against human enemies, however, not so much. With no weapons, no armor, and no way to heal myself, things go south fast. I get the roaches to take down Officer Mac, but oddly enough, Officer Gomez turns hostile in the process. What's even weirder is that he goes back to being friendly once Officer Mac dies. Still, I give the turncoat the only thing he deserves. As for escaping, I can threaten the Overseer's daughter for the key and take his password from his locker so I don't violate the rules. Stepping outside into
The overworld!
I notice the world is a lot less geometric than I remember. I'm sure I'll get used to it. For my first level, I get explosives to 25, round out a few more skills, and get the Little Leaguer perk to boost both melee and explosives by another 5 points. Empty soda bottles are one of the few junk items I can pick up as they remind me of brewing, so I play litter police for some pocket change down the line. Speaking of pocket change, I pocket all of Silver's before she can even react and run for the hills. How food works is that if there's a word I recognize, like steak, eggs, sugar, potato, etc., I can eat the food regardless of its actual contents. This isn't too limiting, and there are some exceptions down the line, but the main draw is that I can't use Stimpaks, Chems, Radaway, or Rad-X. I considered allowing some items, like Buff Out as strength potions, or Stealth Boys as invisibility potions, but later decided against it. I never got a chance to use these items before I changed my mind, so no harm done. Stepping into Megaton, I confuse Lucas Sims by being a silent protagonist.
I don't know why, but I like you, boy. The quiet type, huh? I hope you're not a weirdo. Got enough of those already. God, I hope you ain't one of those psychotic quiet types.
With my explosive skill, I can remove the burnt-out redstone clock inside the nuke and save the town, getting some money, the strength bobblehead, and my own house as a reward. Burke doesn't take too kindly to my good deed, however, so I murder him with my bare hands in broad daylight.
I just had this suit tailored.
I just had this suit tailored.
I just had this suit.
Continuing my streak of wholesome actions, I fix the water pipes for
Walter. Put your dick away, Walter.
and get an offer to turn in scrap metal for caps. I'll have to take him up on that. Inside a store, I find... Wait, is that Alex? I mean, yeah, her hair is a little darker and she's got different clothes, but she always had a knack for command block experiments. Of course, I'll have to help her as much as I can, but not before selling some books and emeralds for a set of leather armor.
God bless the USA and nowhere else.
Shut up, I'm trying to use TFC! Alex's first task consists of me standing motionless next to an atomic bomb for several minutes. When she uses milk to clear my status effects, I'm left with one that regenerates my limbs with enough radiation exposure. Since radiation decreases your agility, however, I never ended up using it.
God bless the USA.
Shut up! Oh yeah, why don't I check out my house? I usually prefer to build them myself, but yeah, this should do nicely. Now that I have a house, some armor, and some healing items, all I need is a weapon. Luckily for me, all you have to do is sneak into Jericho's house, yank it out of a teddy bear, and...
You got yourself a sweet blade.
I feel much more confident taking on Alex's next objective, the Super Duper Mart, now that I can properly defend myself. Just as long as I don't piss off this zombified polar bear, I should be fine. My strategy for this place is to stick to the side so I can take out the illagers one by one, and once I've thoroughly looted the back rooms, can clear out the middle section a lot easier. The Chinese officer's sword is more of a mid-game weapon, so I can clean house without taking a scratch. Luckily, I don't have to walk all the way back to Megaton, as I have an
Ender Pearl. Teleports you to wherever you throw it.
As a reward, I get the food sanitizer, which makes eating 200-year-old desiccated tasty cakes more of a viable survival tactic. Speaking of survival tactics...
Bucket, release!
Oh, can't pick up buckets to cushion my fall? Lame. My next destination is the junkyard to look for scrap. Nothing exciting happens on the way except for an illager swearing on my Christian Minecraft server. Fuck! When I get there, however, I find a treasure more valuable than any diamond.
My doggy, doggy, doggy. My Dennis.
He'll be the only companion I use for the entire run, as since I'm not on a multiplayer server, I have to rely on tamed wolves to back me up. While exploring, I come across a griefer hiding out in a town full of TNT and pressure plates. I'm easily able to dodge his traps and harming-tipped crossbow to kill him and take all his explosives for myself. It's also here where I come across health potions? I mean, they are reddish in a glass bottle and seem to heal me when I drink them, so I guess? Alex's next task is for me to break my own legs. I always knew she was secretly a sadist. Unfortunately, my bones are far too strong for a fall to cripple me without making my organs turn to slurry first, so I have to fail this objective. The next one can wait as I have more pressing matters, namely getting my iconic t-shirt and jeans combo. On the way to one of the few guaranteed spawn locations, I come across a zombie who's not burning in the daylight, so I kill him to correct the natural order of things, and oddly, Gustavo doesn't seem fazed by the sounds of visceral murder playing over the intercom. If I want to impress him, I guess I'll have to go all out.
So might it up, might it up, might it up.
Ah, seems these chunks haven't loaded yet. I better get out of here. Where I need to go is still a ways west, but on the way I come across some wasters looking for a forest biome. I'll make a note of that for later. And then they try to kill me, so I reward their kindness with quick, messy death. Also on the way, I come across a lady hoarding health potions, so I make her go flat and take them all for myself. However, since there are more than 64, I have to drop some to not violate the rules. Finally, I make it to Rockopolis, and not only find the unarmed bobblehead, I find Argyle, who has the exact outfit I need to truly become Steve. Just minus the blue. I report my zombie slaying endeavors to Gustavo for some money and to level up, where I put points into unarmed and repair and get the educated perk. I also wanted to report Argyle's death to Dashwood, but the dialogue option wouldn't show up for some reason. Getting back to Alex's survival guide, oh no, a witch. Don't ask me how I know she's a witch, I just do. Let me just... Dinner is served. Anyway, observing the Mirelurk spawning pod is quite simple, as you can just hop down, attach the ring camera, and then scurry back up before Dogmeat kills one of them and fails the quest for you. For the last part of this chapter, she wants me to boop rats with some sort of enchanted stick. While I didn't manage to boop enough of them down in the sewers, there are some just around Megaton, so all in all, it goes rather smoothly. Before commencing with the main quest, I'd like to get a bit stronger, so my next stop is all the bobbleheads that can get my stats to 10. On the way to the agility bobblehead, I pick up some mines I missed in Minefield, find Ben Canning stuck in the ground.
You got to give me some water, I'm done for.
I think water is the least of your concerns. Find a potion of swiftness, hey, it's blue and it gives you action points, and I'm sorely disappointed I can't use this
Crafting table.
The bobblehead itself is quite simple, as if you come from the roof, you can avoid almost all the rads, and then it's just some roach squashing to claim your prize. The forest biome I learned about earlier comes back to haunt me by knocking this poor trader out cold. Come on, buddy, wake up. Here, have a health potion. Can't forget my own needs, though, so I slaughter some cows for their sweet, delicious steaks. No leather, though, that's odd. I then come across a makeshift shelter inside a drainage chamber, which I've literally never seen before. Have any of you come across this? Can't believe I'm still finding new stuff in this game. A bit more walking, and I find a village called the Republic of Dave, which has the perception bobblehead to raise my explosive skill, a sword I can yoink to repair mine with, and a cow skull I attempt to keep safe in a baby carriage. Lastly, we have the endurance bobblehead, but that's quite a ways off. On the way, I discover the forest biome this whole run has been leading to, but since I don't have an axe, I leave it alone for now. The rest of the journey consists of me killing mole rats, dogs, flies, and other errant beasties until I level up, where I put points into explosives and melee weapons and get the Iron Fist perk. When I reach Deathclaw HQ, I throw my wolf to the figurative wolves so I can get inside, jump down, grab the bobblehead, and run the hell out. Thing is, Dogmeat is so tanky that I'm able to just about kill the Deathclaw before he gets filleted. Okay, now I'm finally ready to look for my father. With the Iron Fist perk, I can save the durability of my sword, and then use a convenient bed to heal. The super mutants are a bit above my pay grade, however, so I let some randos with enchanted iron armor deal with them. As for the behemoth, while he bats the pride around like tennis balls, they're immortal, so with me acting as the bait, we take him down without a sweat. I then come across...
Three Dog, jockey of discs and teller of truths.
Wow, this guy collected all the music discs? That's pretty impressive. He wants me to find a diamond so he can fix his jukebox, and since he's the only lead I have on my father, I oblige. Not before stealing everything he owns for blackmailing me and handing some scrap metal to... Of course. Since the closest metro that leads to the Museum of Technology is near Rivet City, I figure I might as well head there and knock out a few map markers on the way. First is the Citadel, which has an
Iron Golem, local security force.
Next is the Riverboat Landing, which will be quite crucial later, trust me. Then there's the library, which, while it lacks an enchanting table, it does have a bookworm who will give me 100 caps for every pre-war book I bring her. The place contains an abundance of Nuka-Colas and books to trade in, and while there are some raiders, they're nothing I can't punch out with the help of my canine compadre. With an entire library's archive somehow stuffed inside my Pip-Boy, I level up, putting points into unarmed and melee weapons and getting the last rank of Little Leaguer. I discover the Jefferson Memorial in Rivet City on my way to Anastasia Crossing, then go inside to kick some raider and super mutant ass. After installing the diamond, I look around to find an iron helmet for some more protection and a bed I can use to heal myself. 3Dog then tells me to go to Rivet City, which I already marked on my map, so I really didn't need him at all. I start out by stealing, well, I would say stealing, but none of the items are marked as such, all the glass bottles and junk in the Muddy Rudder for some easy cash. Then I go into Abraham Washington's exhibit for another iron sword. Finally, I grab the intelligence bobblehead, find out where to go from Dr. Lee, and steal all the fresh potatoes, apples, and carrots, which are a nice change of pace from the caramelized and powdered crap I've been eating. At the memorial, I assert my dominance over the physically superior green men by slaughtering them all with a pointy stick. Now I know where to go next, but first I take a brief stop at the Dunwich building for the melee bobblehead. I get to use some of the TNT I've been hoarding to kill the zombies, with the rest folding like tissue paper thanks to a mix of Iron Fist and VATS. I even level up in the middle of this, boosting melee weapons to 90 and getting another rank of Iron Fist. With the bobblehead, that maxes out my melee weapon skill to 100, which will be quite handy for, you guessed it, Point Lookout. Yep, there's a few perks and items I need from that place, and since it's meant for much higher level characters, I'll need all the help I can get. But before going on vacation, I smack some inanimate objects to let the communists take over, and trap a little German child in purgatory forever. If you haven't played this game, that must have made literally 0 sense. Anyway, this little father-finding escapade levels me up, where I get unarmed to 70 and the final rank of Iron Fist. TSA would have to chop off my hands before takeoff because they are definitely deadly weapons at this point. After stealing some backup armor and getting a history lesson at Rivet City, Alex gives me one final task: investigate a robot factory. Not exactly sure what a robot is, but from my understanding, they're like mini iron golems that act like a lathe. Obviously, the roaches and rats in here are no threat, but after installing the widget, the robots wake from their slumber. They managed to get me a few times with their redstone beams, but a bit of trial and error is all it takes to escape. Finally, Alex's work on her survival guide is complete, earning me a perk that gives me a few minor resistances. Not that spectacular, but I'll take what I can get. Alright, enough stalling. Time to finally take my long overdue vacation. Panada sells 2 of the weapons I'm looking for right off the bat, an axe and a shovel, as well as a suit of iron armor. The axe is a lot better in the damage department, the shovel scores crits like crazy, and the metal armor is a major defensive upgrade at the cost of -1 agility. As ready as I'll ever be, I take a wide berth around the swamp folk until I come to a church. I try to find a way inside before doing the main quest, but no such luck. At least there's a convenient bed here, so I don't have to worry about my health as much. My first stop is the Coastal Grotto for 2 things: the Ghoul Ecology perk, which is bugged and increases all your damage by 5, and the 800 caps found on this zombie's corpse. The place I want to get to next can be reached with a long fall, but I don't have a water bucket to clutch with. I do have another solution, however.
Don't worry! I'm gonna cushion our fall with this!
Save file!
As a child, I yearned for the mines.
And now, I've finally reached one. This is the moment my life has been leading to. Truth be told, besides a bunch of traps and a kid with a top hat, there's nothing really to write home about here. Except, wait, is he talking about...
He was a mean old man, owned this mine 1,000,000 years ago, made the miners work real hard, and didn't give them any money or food for their kid. One day, a bunch of miners sat down and just stopped working. Old man Herzog, he didn't like that. Not a bit. So he blew them all up with a million tons of dynamite. No one wanted to work on the mine after that. Then old Herzog came down here and hung himself.
Go on! Get out of here!
With all the pieces put together, I leave Point Lookout, having finally found closure. But closure won't cook my food or build my house for me, so I head back to the forest biome for some wood. Weird, that usually works. Since I can't get any wood that way, I may as well drink the suspicious stew these hippies so thoughtfully provided for me, and... okay, yeah, this works. Ah, come on. Damn it. Well, at least I'm lucky in that this tree I want to kill conveniently wants me to do the job for him. My new axe and metal armor does a decent job against the Mirelurks, although they still hit damn hard and have a long melee range to boot, making careful use of healing and VATS a necessity. My saving grace is that, ironically, they can't attack underwater, so if I can get the high ground while they're in the drink, the fight's basically over. For the next group of Murlocs, there's a convenient bed I can use to heal, so no issues here. I still spice it up by using some of my TNT, however. Also, I kinda found it amusing hearing my low HP heartbeat try to sync up with Harold's heartbeat. Anyway, with the Heart of Lorkhan destroyed, I gained the Barkskin perk, which gives me a small amount of damage resistance. But more importantly... my next stop is one that may take some explaining. You see, I have a nasty habit of kidnapping villagers from their homes, forcing them into inhumane living conditions, and killing them if they don't trade what I want. Therefore, I feel the best way to represent this is by doing a few quests for the Slavers Guild, starting with Head of State. But first, I have to let you in on a very important piece of intel. The memorial is off limits.
That's close enough.
The memorial.
That's close enough. Is allowed in the memorial. That's close enough. Is allowed in the memorial. That's close enough. Is allowed in the memorial. That's close enough.
The memorial is
That's close enough. Is allowed in the memorial.
Leroy Walker wants me to spit in Nurbit's face and bring him a Lincoln artifact so he can burn it. While I take no pleasure in it, smiting the zombies with my bare hands is quite simple, and the devs made sure to leave Yojimbo Abe before the locked gate in case you aren't allowed to lockpick anything. How thoughtful of them. Next part is finding the location of the abolitionist leader, Hannibal Hamlin. Since I found a slave map near Tenpenny Tower, getting there is the easy part. Getting in is the hard part. Here's a little compilation of my various attempts.
Don't make any sudden moves. Hannibal is upstairs somewhere. I'm locking the door behind you, so don't try anything. I'm watching you. We've got slavers! Grab your guns!
Damn! Ha!
I'm only paying half because you didn't follow orders.
That's some tough talk, stranger. You should clear out of here before I'm forced to make you. You're the best equipped runaway slave I've ever seen.
Since I've never done this quest siding with the slavers, I wanted to see what exactly would happen if you did. Would they capture Hannibal with a mesmetron, or would they... oh, they just kill everyone? Well, that's boring. It was quite funny killing Victoria Watts, the synth abolitionist, and seeing the Temple of the Union say,
Good riddance.
Good riddance. I guess they're all machinists. That means machine racists, by the way. To make things more interesting, I reload a save and place TNT behind everyone before the battle begins. As soon as they start shuffling around...
Yeah, I killed them all after telling you not to. I just couldn't trust anyone else to do it. I needed to see them dead with my own eyes.
Okay, that seems like a cop-out way to say, we couldn't program Leroy to capture Hannibal, so we made him kill him instead, but whatever. I level up from this little excursion, getting Repairman Unarmed to 75 and the Finesse perk. Even though I have a low luck, the Chinese Officer Sword and Shovel have high critical multipliers, so I still think it's worth it. I then witnessed the slavers take down a Death Claw, which somehow apparated or flew into the building, and then when I try to take out this lady with a pool cue, I get stuck doing this. Pulling out my hole digger fixes the problem, but man, I swear someone is doing something devious to my game. The Abolitionist hideout has a decent amount of loot in it, so despite all the glitchy nonsense and general disappointment that the quest wasn't deeper, I still say it was worth it. Speaking of loot, I returned to the Arlington Library to scavenge for more pre-war books that I can turn in to the tune of 600 caps. Fun fact, if you do Head of State siding with the slavers, you get a unique dialogue option when entering Paradise Falls. I didn't even know that was a thing, but that's pretty cool. Another fun fact is that if you take away Ymir's super sledge, the rest of Paradise Falls will kill Frank for him. Giving him a different weapon causes him to use that to execute Frank instead, and I thought giving him a fat man would make him blow himself up in a glorious ball of fire, but no dice. Disappointed once more, I head to Rivet City to buy some food, carry on Victoria Watt's legacy beyond her death for some quick EXP, and with Zimmer gone, steal the rest of the fresh vegetables in the science lab. Back on track for the main quest, and my dad wants me to fix up the redstone contraption he has to keep the water running. Since this is one of the few opportunities to actually build, or at least replace, something in this game, I happily oblige. Also, you know how Dad says there's no need to head back to the control room when you put in the fuses? Well, I got curious and went up there anyway, and it turns out he has unique dialogue. Neat. Anyway, a bunch of griefers who take RP way too far show up, and I decide to dunk on them with the power of... Yeah, for having some of the most advanced weapons and armor available, they die quite easily to gardening instruments. Anyway, Liam Neeson gives Colonel Autism stage 87 cancer to save me as a noble sacrifice, and I nobly sacrifice Garza behind everyone's back since I have no stim packs to jam into his chest cavity. While Dr. Lee hacks a door open, I play with a bucket to pass the time. I then bonk the horny out of some more zombies with my shovel, until I reach the Brotherhood's castle and level up, getting repair to 90, unarmed to 80, explosives to 64, nice, and intense training for some more endurance to boost my unarmed further. Following Rothschild's arthritic ass gets me the location of a vault where I can find a command block to fix my dad's purifier. To be frank, nothing exciting happens on the way there. I use the Child at Heart perk to get in, tell MacCready to open the gate to the vault, and see that he got stuck on the stairs, so I give him a helping hand before giving the mutants in Vault 87 a heaping helping of fisticuffs.
Baby, tonight, the creepers try to steal our stuff again. 'Cause baby, tonight, grab your pinch of again.
When it's time to let the fox out, I play it smart by placing some TNT to kill Sid and the Centaur jockeys as soon as they taste freedom. The walk with Fox, that rhymed, is as mindlessly easy as ever, especially with Dennis as support, and it levels me up, where I get unarmed to 100 in the toughness perk. And then, this happens.
Wow, what luck! I'm Sticky. Why would you? Wouldn't you rather go? Of course you would.
Here's the
Curious, I wanted to see if the soldiers would mow down Sticky on sight when they came to kidnap me, but my dreams are dashed into the dirt. Now Colonel Autism has stripped me, a young man, nude, and placed me in captivity in his basement. AKA, he's a typical Minecraft YouTuber when they get famous. I then break the logic of the base's little redstone computer, causing the base to blow to shit and obliterate everyone, including me. I honestly never knew that did damage to you. With them nearly dealt with, I wrap up my work with the Slavers Guild by becoming a typical Minecraft YouTuber, as they task me with kidnapping a miner under false pretenses. Not only does the Child at Heart perk make this easy, I even get the help of SS Sniper Wolf. On the way to lead Bumble outside, I come across Sticky's mutilated corpse. Not sure what happened here, and frankly, I don't want to know. Anyway, with Bumble shipped off to have all the labor wrung out of her like a washcloth, I head west to finalize my work with the slavers by doing, you guessed it, the pit. Or maybe you didn't guess it, I don't know, I'm not a psychic. Not only does the pit have an abundance of villagers to exploit for mending books, it also has a ton of raw materials I can use for crafting and building. Kind of a no-brainer to check it out. The problem is, in order to get in, I have to pass a speech check, which I can't do by the rules. I try to lure a Yao Guai to kill the slavers without any blood on my hands, but they take it out a lot easier than I expected. So I settle for sneakily killing them and the slaves so there's no witnesses, and thus my reputation with the guild is unchanged. I know Fallout 3 doesn't have a reputation system, but just roll with it. I'm playing along with Werner so he can get me in here. Once I have the advantage, I'm gonna throw him into the Monongahela. After an arduous minecart ride, we finally make it to
The Nether. The Nether. The Nether. The Nether. The Nether. The Nether.
The path to the entrance gets me a bunch of TNT, but also a bunch of holes in new and exciting places thanks to the sniper on the bridge. Luckily, I drink enough Nuka-Cola to make it pour out of those holes like a goddamn cartoon character and make it within an inch of my life. Also, something that always confused me is that Mex is very clearly sarcastic here.
Since we're hiring, you can just head right on in and fill out a fucking application.
Yet RedUp says that he lied to me. I'm pretty sure there was no lie, dude. I just walked in thanks to my own suicidal curiosity. Luckily, a level up saves me from my inevitable beating for a few moments, letting me get repair to 100, explosives to 75, and the Life Giver perk. Now, you might think being naked, weaponless, and without healing items would give me a significant disadvantage. You would be mistaken. You see, the raiders don't give two shits if you kill their workforce. The workforce they specifically bought to make this place livable one day, and so you can collect the Efficiency 5 golden axes from their corpses right off the bat. Sure, the slaves can try to fight back, but since the auto axe does such low damage per strike, blocking pretty much makes you invincible. Also, Bethesda AI really doesn't know how to use automatic melee weapons, as they won't rush in to keep the blade touching your hitbox like you can. The only thing to watch out for is that when using VATS, automatic melee weapons seem to strike a lot quicker than normal, meaning you can take loads of damage if you're not careful. Overall, this slaughter goes quite well, and since I just maxed out my repair, I have
blades for days.
Inside the Steelyard proper, we get introduced to the most valuable collectible to any Minecraft player, ingots. Suffice it to say, I'll be collecting quite a few of these. I can't collect them all though. This video is getting long enough already, and some of them are behind an average locked door. But there is a specific piece of kit I'd like to obtain with them. Only problem is, this place is filled to the brim with trogs.
Big old red ones.
Yes, they're fast. Yes, they can hit hard. But if you just sort of wave around your spinny axe and hope for the best, you'll probably make it out okay. Using VATS can kill most of them in 1 or 2 goes, and for the weaker trogs, you can just let them kill themselves by running into your blade. The ghost people in Dead Money weren't that difficult either, but at least they had unique mechanics like moving erratically and only dying if you cripple their limbs. The trogs just feel like fighting any basic melee enemy like a mole rat, dog, Yao Guai, etc. Maybe they could have had more unique abilities like health regeneration that can only be halted with fire, or the ability to jump really high, hence their name being based on frog. I don't know, something. The wild men aren't anything special either, just rename raiders. You'd think fighting feral humanoids who have adapted to living in this hell would be difficult, but not really. Overall, this whole DLC just feels like they wanted to make a survival horror experience like Dead Money, but got scared people would get annoyed with it, so they toned down the enemies, put a bed you can heal yourself with, scattered a bunch of loot around, until you're left with a half-baked and piss-easy DLC. Not to say this DLC is all bad, there are some decent moments and characters here and there, as well as a lot of potential, but I honestly think they spread themselves too thin with 5 DLCs and didn't have enough time to make this one truly shine. Ranting aside, 40 steel ingots nets me the Metal Master armor, which has the same damage resistance as metal armor at half the weight. It also boosts unarmed by 10, so I guess I could have left unarmed at 90, but oh well. This armor will be perfect for the hull, which is basically a microcosm of what I don't like about this DLC. The concept is amazing, an irradiated gladiator pit where the craziest and toughest of them all clash it out with whatever they can scavenge to earn their freedom. The execution?
I set up a fight. You die. Sound good?
The real kick in the nuts is that after the pathetically easy hole, you get a perk that gives you more damage resistance and get all your stuff back, negating the point of even taking it away in the first place and making the rest of the DLC even more pathetic. This is an ash and toxin-filled city with flayed Resident Evil-ass mutants and slavers. This should be a brutal struggle for survival. Anyway, I meet Asher, the leader of the city. He's the genius who believes that slaves who get abused for sport, have no protective equipment, and get fed irradiated human remains have the strength and conviction to rebuild an entire city from the ground up. But to be fair, I keep villagers in booths without access to sleep, food, or water and dunk them in lava if they don't have the trades I want, so I'm not one to talk. Anyway, the slaves try to start a rebellion, but since I killed almost all of them, the remnants lack the courage to fight back, so I can chop them down with impunity. Less of a rebellion, more like an angsty teenager throwing a tantrum. Medea folds under the power of my childlike heart and then under the weight of my axe, telling me where Werner is hiding. So, like Cuphead, I bust into his hidey hole and snap the rat in half. With the rebellion now quashed, I've killed almost all the pit's workers, throwing it into an economic stalemate of disarray and destitution. So, all in a day's work. Now it's time to fend off the Griefer army for good. But first, I level up for the last time, using Here and Now to get explosives to 100 and the Demolition Expert perk. With our Iron Giant Golem using his Flint and Steel, they never really stood a chance. Like with most melee playthroughs, it's actually harder to get into a proper fight than it is to die, as Prime uses tilde, left click, kill, enter on everything he sees. Luckily, I'm able to satisfy my bloodlust by chopping Colonel Autism into splinters. I then sacrifice myself to start the Purifier, proving that yes, you can beat Fallout 3 as Steve from Minecraft.
I am building rocks and shit and playing fucking Minecraft!
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to not miss similar content in the future. If you didn't enjoy the video, dislike and give constructive criticism so I can improve. Leave your ideas for new videos in the comments. I do read them and put them at the end of each video. You can also support my Patreon or become a channel member to get shouted out and make your video suggestions more likely to become reality. Check me out on Discord or Reddit using the links in the description, or check out my second channel, The Loophole, where I post everything that doesn't fit here. This is Causal Loop signing off. Peace.